so welcome to the new podcast, All Sides of Kennebec. Trying to put together a bringing more people to the table, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
thank you guys for putting this together.
Definitely. If you want to start off, you're the one with all the questions.
Just to get some of this out of the way, just want to let everyone know that there will be a Candlelight Vigil Sunday, October 27th at 6 p.m. That's for Melissa Sousa.
Sousa.
And that's at 6 p.m. on the corner of Summer Street and Gold Street.
I noticed that they did a little bit of a memorial.
There was some on Friday, I guess.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
this is
definitely nice.
I guess
so
something that
big one.
Yeah. This will be a bigger one. That 27. I saw. Yeah. There's like 27 chairs.
No doubt.
So we all thinking about her family. You know,
absolutely.
Those ones, it's always a hard time. You know, to have a tragedy like this. We prayers are with her family, and we're thinking about her, and we are with her and her family.
We are
definitely.
All right, so that's Sunday, 6 p.m. And all right, so we have our guest here, Phil Bofia. Did I pronounce that last name right?
Absolutely.
All righty, perfect.
Yeah.
He's the existing councilor for Ward 2, and he's up for re-election. Come next week.
On the 5th, November 5th.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's coming right up.
It's coming right up.
All right. So
people should go and vote.
Yes, make sure you go vote. So tell us some of your background for those that might not know of you or.
Yeah. So for the folks who don't know who I am, I was originally born in West Africa, which is in Cameroon, and from there. Got to the United States about 2002, went to high school in New York, stayed there for 2 years, and after 2 years I went to the University of Maine, a black bear, played basketball for the University of Maine, graduated in 2009. Since then I've been in Maine, serving in the community, various boards and committees, Habitat for Humanity, KVCC, the local chamber.
The
Green Drinks, which is KV Connect, a young professional organization.
Yeah, I see a lot of stuff you post on Facebook.
No, absolutely.
KV Connect.
We try to. One of the things with that, we try to, to keep our young people here because we know that there's a shortage in our region, our area, and one of the focus that the chamber has, which is one of the entities that we're working in conjunction with, is to work on keeping our young people here and showing them that there is a path forward in our local city. There's some exciting things happening, this is the place where you want to be right now. That's right.
Yes, I agree.
Okay, all right. So tell us in your words, since you've been on the council now for a year, since January.
Yeah.
So what's some of your successes and failures so far that you've seen that you hope to overcome or that will make you a better councilor moving forward?
I would say, since I've been on the council, my focus has always been on number one thing, transparency, accountability, among city officials, making sure that the work that we do is representative of the people, and not some party affiliation or some feelings that we have towards one person or entity. I pride myself and to all the votes that I've taken on relying on facts and figures before making my decision, and really supporting the will and desire of the people of the city, and that's one thing that I can say for sure that I've done a great job at, and that's something I'll continue to do because that's one of the reasons why I got into politics in the first place, because I was one of those people who was a keyboard warrior, right? With the people who like to share commentaries on social media and argue about issues. And I say, instead of doing that, why not get involved and do the very thing that I wish that the politicians would do, right? Which is serve the people and leave the divisive rhetorics and the things that divide us on the side and focus on the work that is needed for the people.
Awesome. So correct me if I'm wrong, but in January when you were elected by the council.
Yeah.
So not the people of your ward. So this will be the first time that you actually have an election for your seat. So how does that shape how you're running?
I have
you're on the
approached.
council.
I am on the council, so I approach my campaign as as somebody who's on the council now and continue and is going back to is going out to try to get the people to put me back on the council. So it's kind of how I've approached the campaign so far. But mostly my approach to the campaign has been about getting out and talking to people. It's not so much about I was there and I need to come back. It's about come and see what I've done, and come and see for yourself the work that's been put forward. And if that is something that you want to see, to continue to see, if that is something that the people of the city want to continue to see, and I hope that I get their support going forward.
Good. All right. So, how do you propose lowering taxes or generating revenue? And I know I prefaced that question with I know you're working on some solar stuff. And
Yeah.
It seems, that's
Good time
been a
to-
pretty big thing going on.
No, absolutely. I am a big proponent of lowering taxes and finding new ways to generate income for the city. Like you say, one of the ways that I'm currently working on is some solar initiative with the city of Waterville. We are hoping to get the city to be 100% energy independent. So that is our big goal. In conjunction with a couple other things, obviously redefining our zoning and trying to identify new opportunities in town where we can maximize, retail and development. Promoting development and making sure that when we promote development, that development is favorable to all sides, the residents and developers. So those are the couple of ways that I am working on lowering our tax base and removing some of that burden. And also another initiative that we are working on is getting more people on the table, right? Like whether it's a nonprofit or the local powerful entities that we can bring to the table to have a discussion to see how we can work together, to help our city move forward.
Good. Awesome. Yeah, great idea.
Definitely. Great idea.
So come election day, next Tuesday, what will you be doing on election day? I know some people, they have to go to work. Other people, they go to the polls and shake everybody's hand.
I'll be at the polls shaking hands.
No, absolutely. I'll be the same.
I'll see you there.
See, like I said, it's his first time. I usually go vote on election day, but I already voted. Early voting is available. You can go to City Hall and you can vote. I voted already.
Right, I started on the 15th.
Yeah. And I will be at the polls shaking hands. So I look forward to seeing as many voters. Voting is important. If you want to make your voice heard, you need to come and vote.
Absolutely.
Because voting is what determines how your city is run. And people not voting, kind of silences their voice. And we want to make sure that everybody's heard. And the way for you to get heard, is to go to polls and cast your vote.
I also heard that you're running for the Charter Commission.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I am. I believe it is important for people who live in this city, pay taxes, our neighbors, and plan on retiring here and having families grow and grow in this area to have an input on how a city is going to operate. We want. If I'm gonna grow old here in this city. I purchased my home in this city. My daughter is from this city. I want my daughter to grow up here, to get a job and work right here. And for those things to happen, we want the right people to be able to shape those policies. And which better people than the people who live in this city and plan on retiring here.
Awesome.
How do you feel about the reward system? There's been a lot of controversy lately about getting rid of the award system. Where do you stand on that? Do you think we should keep the award system, get rid of the award system?
Well, I think the award system is working, and it kind of divides the city in a way that is a lot more manageable, for not only for the councilors from the different wards, but also for the individuals living in the ward. Because if you live in my ward, the chances of you running into me are a lot higher than if you were living on the other side of town or in a different ward. So it kind of gives that proximity model to the relationship between the councilor and the ward councilor. which, I mean, in itself, we live in Waterville. The city is not that big. You know, we bump into each other all the time. You go to Walmart, you go to
Right, I was gonna say, yeah,
go to Dunkin' Donuts, and you're like, hey, you know. So at the end, we are neighbors, but you know, having that extra proximity to your counselor and having the ability to be able to go. And I mean, I have people from my ward who come to my house, and we spend some time. We have some fires, we have some barbecues, and then we talk about whatever. You know, that proximity is something that is unique to the ward, and I think it's beneficial for the city.
Awesome. So one of the things that it's a pretty big hot topic is the ambulance.
The ambulance.
So I'm going to just read something that came in on our Facebook earlier this morning.
Okay.
And then I kind of want to get yours, and then when we interview Sydney, his perspective.
Sure.
All right, so this was from Gary Mayhew. He said, I've heard a lot of prominent people from both parties indicate that if Waterville goes into the ambulance business, it's going to be a multi-million-dollar investment, one the city cannot afford, and it's a colossal mistake. As you know, the council already voted to purchase 2 ambulances, so they've already adopted the concept of going into the ambulance business. It's now time for the council to provide a detailed financial report from an unbiased agency indicating that revenues are guaranteed to surpass expenses every year, putting no risk to the taxpayers. Until this is provided, no further monies should be allocated for the creation of an ambulance service, significantly increasing the city's payroll expenses, including benefits, training, infrastructure, etc. Doesn't sound like it's going to save tax dollars. It's going to significantly raise taxes. In the meantime, Delta will continue providing excellent service with no risk to the taxpayers. And then I told him I'd be sure to get the feedback from you two. So what do you think about what he says? And you guys have a plan on...
we did have to get one clarification. We're asking Sid on Nick's veto, is that already been vetoed, or does he have to make a resolution to veto it?
We have to vote on the veto, but it's council meeting yes to.
Yeah, the purchase has been...
Veto is
Okay.
still in effect, yes.
Okay, so
The veto is in effect, yeah.
the
Veto
veto...
is in effect.
Right,
Okay.
it has been vetoed, the resolution to purchase the 2 ambulances.
Okay.
So then 4 need to vote to override the veto,
Correct.
Yes, correct.
and there's 6 councilors. So.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So as far as the ambulance goes, you know, I am one of the most frugal counselors, you know, on the council.
he does ask all, he asks the questions.
I will
give it to
ask.
Phil. Phil
I will
asks.
ask all the questions.
The most.
You know,
Yes.
because it is important. Again, the reason why we make decisions should always be rooted in facts, in figures, not in feelings or emotions or anything of that nature. So, from my part, I met with our police chief. You know, I met with our fire chief, and he presented me some figures. You know, I can assure you those figures were a lot more elaborate than some of the TIF figures that I've received. Were all these TIFs that we've been passing around, and I trust our fire chief. He was able to answer any question that I had for him. And the good
It's a
Lord
pretty big
knows
book,
I
too.
had a lot of questions. and even during our meeting, I mean, I don't think there's a question that went unanswered by our fire chief.
Yep.
And that's what's important. And what's important is that we have to turn every stone so that we can understand exactly what will be the impact for our constituents, for the city, for our government, and you know, and that's the way that we should approach this issue. Some people have reservations and talk about, you know, we should think about Delta. You know, we are not elected by the board of Delta.
Right.
We are elected by the people of Waterville. We represent the people of Waterville. So therefore, we have to make decisions that benefit the people of Waterville. And I believe personally that investing a little money to get additional money is the way to go. We asked our department officials to come, as a whole council, we did ask our department officials to come up with ways to generate money for the city. We did, because we don't want the taxpayers of Waterville to continue to foot the bill, you know, for our spending habits. So we ask our city, our department heads, how can you help your city, you know, and coming up with new ways to generate income. And that's what they're doing. And what the chief is doing is exactly what we would ask him. Looking at ways to make this city, to help this city move forward, in terms of economics. But the most important aspect of what the chief is proposing to us is an increased level of service that is provided to the people of the city, because the numbers speak for themselves. The amount of time that people had to wait for transport in this city has increased. And we're not saying that Delta is doing a bad job. We're not saying that. Even the chief himself said they're doing an excellent job.
Yes,
but
he
at
did say
times
that.
they are overwhelmed. So we are looking to partner with Delta, right, to provide an excellent level of service, which, by the way, we already do. Right? The only thing that we will do different this time is sometimes when Delta cannot make it there, we will transport that individual to the hospital. And that is nothing different that our first responders are actually doing now. And if that has to evolve into something different, that discussion will have to be had. But I can assure you that even I received some updates today about Delta and the city of Waterville and the fire chief, and a discussion that's been happening. And Delta, as far as I know today, is favorable to a partnership with the city of Waterville. They are coming forward, and as far as I've been reported to, they are coming forward and saying, we want to work with the city. Because, again, we're not trying to go and take out a business, out of commission in our city.
It's been a fear that I've heard from some
we don't.
people.
That's not what we're going for.
What do you say to the people that are in fear that it's going to end up costing taxpayers money? Because there's the argument that when, like, Paul LePage came into office, how he had to pay the hospitals back for the part that Main Care had been neglecting for so long. Do we take that type of stuff into consideration, or?
Okay, so we're not providing, the Main Care situation and our situation, it's two different things. They're completely different. And rest assured that if I would have looked at the data provided to me, and I would have asked questions, and the answer that I would have been less than 100% satisfactory, I would not be in favor, or like really inclined to move forward with a proposal from the chief. I believe, and I've seen the numbers based on what has been reported, from the estimate that I've received. It would pay for itself, right? Which is what we want. We want departments to be able to be self-sustainable, so that the people of the city of Waterville will not continue to foot the bill like it's been for so many years. Now we have department heads who are coming forward and finding new ways to generate revenue, which is what this city council asked them to do, and they're doing it. And we have to support them. We have one of the best fire chiefs in the whole region, and there's no one who would have spent an hour with this man, and talk about this or any other issue, and will not come out of that meeting completely satisfied with the answer that he was provided.
Okay, awesome. So next is community notes.
Community knows.
So I will read this. This was another comment. Should they community notes?
Yeah.
Should they remain? First up, last thing, etc. This is vital for the segment, in my humble opinion, as well as many are the only time a resident gets to speak freely. And sorry to say, under the gun with only said time to state the issue they want to say. Good, bad, indifferent. So breaking it down, council meets 12 times, 2 times equals 24 times, times 3 minutes. 72 minutes a resident can state anything per year. Paying taxes, volunteering, etc. And the city is saying, time's up. Just pay your quarterly and move on after a timer goes off. So what do you think about the 3-minute timer, basically, is what that...
So I would say first that community notes should remain. Right? It should remain because that is one of the only public format that people get the chance to speak to councilors. People also have the opportunity to speak to councilors in private. But some of the concerns that I've heard from constituents is sometimes those private conversations are
Don't
not,
make it to
they
light.
don't make it a light,
Yeah.
or they are completely transformed into something that did not happen. So having a public forum where you get a chance to be able to ask questions to the councilors or express your
It's
views
very
is
vital.
very vital. And we already seen how, trying to silence people turned out last time we had community leaders trying to be limited. As far as the 3-minute time, we can't have meetings going,
Well past 10
well
o'clock at
past.
Right.
As counselors, what people forget sometimes is that we also, this is just a part-time thing that we do. I have a
Absolutely.
full-time job, I have a daughter to raise, I have I do other activities. So it is important that we put a time limit. But the most important thing, and I believe the reason why we're having the discussion is because sometimes that time limit has not been enforced the way it should be. Right? So there's been some leniency. So therefore, some people could feel like other people have had some leniency shown to them. Why can I not be afforded the same courtesy?
Right.
So I think that if we stay consistent, it's the
I
problem with
think that's what
consistency.
it is.
If we stay
consistency.
consistent, with everybody, because then no one would be able to complain because everybody will get
The same time.
the same
Yeah.
time, the same treatment, right? And I think that should solve the problem. Obviously, the quorum is something that we must follow, and it's important as well. And that will help, also, alleviate some of the time that is lost. Sometime when there are conversations that happen that are not intended for that particular section.
Okay, so I saw that we had a comment earlier.
I'm not sure if that's us comment or if that's a Phil comment.
So do you want to tackle that? You want to input?
I'm not
You know
sure
anything
what,
about that?
what
It's
is
talking
that.
about the suppression
So the
that
question
was
is,
going on.
so are we
about
going to
COVID.
talk about the suppression of speech at Colby with the former governor? So basically, I think what he's getting at is all the page talked at Colby.
Yeah.
And I guess there were some people that were trying to stop him.
Yeah,
or
from being
they
able
were
to
protesting.
Speak. Yeah.
It went down, and he was able to speak.
Okay.
Yeah, he
So,
was.
and he was able to do everything to conclusion. He didn't stop early.
Okay.
So, it wasn't really suppression of speech
Yeah.
because he was still able to speak.
Right, but
There were
town
people
thing,
that
yes.
were protesting.
Yeah.
What people can do.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, I'm not sure. I mean, you touched on it. In America, people have the right to protest.
Yes.
Absolutely.
People have the right to disagree, with what you are putting forward. They do, and most times than not, if it's from one side or the other, some people will feel as though, it shouldn't happen. I am for everybody to have the chance to speak. Right? I am willing to listen from people from all sides.
Absolutely.
That is me. And I believe that we have to get back to that. We have to get back to people listening. You can disagree with someone. It doesn't mean that you should not listen to the person.
You can
Right?
civilly disagree.
You can
It's
civilly
gotta have
disagree.
dialogue.
Yes, the dialogue is important.
Which is what we're trying to do here.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
and I
exactly.
commend this thing, and I would have hoped that my opponent in the election would have been here, so that we can have a dialogue and we can talk in public.
Yeah,
in public eye.
just to sit down and see what
have
you
a
have in
discussion.
common.
Just
So,
talk about this.
Flavia will be here next Saturday.
Okay,
Yep.
Yep.
And we'll have something similar to this.
I'm more than happy to come back.
All right.
Yeah, we'll see if we
I'll
can
message
set
her
that
and see if we
up.
can set that up. Like a debate type of.
Well, yeah, the
guys
communication
can-
needs to happen.
Yeah.
The healthy communication needs to continue to happen. And there's some people who are very into that. I am one of those people. I will listen to anybody about anything. I might agree or disagree with what you say, and if I disagree, I will let you know. If you ask me for my opinion, I will let you know, and if you're not asking, I will not let you know.
Right.
It's really that simple.
Simple.
It's
Yeah.
really that simple to me.
More
Yeah.
speech,
Right.
not less speech.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any other questions?
No, I think we've got everything I wanted to ask?
Yeah, I mean, I want to thank you guys for putting this thing together.
Definitely.
You know, it's very
I
it's very
appreciate you
important.
coming on.
Oh yeah, you know, I will
Without
gladly
you,
come back.
we wouldn't be as successful
I
as we
will.
are. So.
I will definitely come back again if you guys need me. But
Yeah,
I want to let the people of Waterville know that, you know, right now in the council, you know, our chairman is going to be next here, and we're doing what needs to be done for our city to be successful. And I want to let people know, don't get caught up in the things that are happening in the back and forth. You know, we are people who are focused. I am focused in one thing only: serving the people of Waterville and doing what an elected
that's one thing that
official
I've always liked about
should
Phil.
Yeah,
be doing.
absolutely.
And that is it. That is the
Fiduciary
goal.
duty.
And if you have a question about an opinion that you would like an answer about, I'm more than happy to answer that. If you want to have a question, you want to have a discussion about that, I want it. But the focus is on serving the people of the city of Waterville, making sure that our taxes, including mine, go down, making sure that everybody is invited to the table, and making sure that we include as many people as possible in this discussion.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay,
All right, I guess we've
that's it.
roll Phil in now.
All right.
I mean Sydney. Jesus.
All right.
Well, thank you guys. Appreciate
Yes,
it.
thank you.
No
All
problem.
right.
Thanks.
Thank you.